Now, how about them damn Celtics?
We are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Tuesday, February 25th, after the Celtics 111-101 win over the Toronto Raptors. 6 wins in a row for the Celtics. First game of a 2-game road trip goes well for the C's. Pretty thorough victory for them in this one. I don't think the Raptors led. They led briefly in the middle of the second quarter, and then it was a convincing win for the Celtics from there. No Kristaps, no Al, no Luke, and Torrey Craig at the center. Nimi got in, had 5,000, 19 minutes. Not ideal, but they got the job done. Good win for the Celtics.
Yeah, they definitely did what they were supposed to do today. It was very good. Um, they came out and took care of business against the Raptors. They were pretty engaged from the opening tip. They did have some lapses. Second quarter wasn't great, but they ultimately recovered, pulled away again, and won the game by double digits. So you can't complain too much. This was a really funny game because after the last time they came up to Toronto here, you had to find some way to motivate yourself. And Derrick and Jayson Tatum wore headbands, and that kind of speared their involvement in this game. They were both very engaged. They both had really good games. Jaylen had a pretty solid game too, especially considering he kind of hurt himself for a second. But in particular, Derrick stood out in this game. Another great fourth quarter from him, and the whole thing about him finding his happiness again, and then all of a sudden they're wearing headbands together. I think that's a nice little, I don't know, build upon, whatever you would want to call that. Very good.
Very fun. Derrick White was really, really, really good in this game. 22 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks, 7 of 15 from the field, 6 of 11 from 3. Just a monster game from him. Did everything. The 2 blocks he had were ridiculous too. He got all the way up at the rim and stuffed 2 different guys at the rim in 2 different spots. So that was fun to watch. It does feel like he is back to the Derrick White that we look at and are like, okay, yeah, this guy is the 3rd best player on this team every single night.
And when he is that dude, they are borderline unstoppable. I was watching the game with my dad, and he was like, ooh, White's on today. And when Derrick White is playing the way he played in this game, they really, you can't defend either of the stars comfortably. You have to either commit to doubling or at least sending help at Tatum or Brown when they're handling the ball, driving to the basket, or you have to try and spread everybody out and still cover Derrick White. And neither one is going to keep the Celtics from scoring a lot of points. They didn't have a tremendous offensive game in this one. They only shot 29% from 3. Personally, big fan of that. They won by double digits and they only shot 29% from 3. Look at that. You can actually win games when the threes don't go in. Can you? I mean, granted, it is against the Raptors. But, they did lose to the Raptors this year when that didn't happen for them. So
it's true. No, they played a great game. Good defensive game. The only bad defensive quarter was that second quarter. And I feel like a part of that was their offense was really bad. That lineup with Jaylen Brown and the fellas didn't really work too well. Jaylen Brown finished with a good game, but there were stretches where it felt like they put him in the Tatum spot and it's not the same. And that's not saying Jaylen Brown's not a great player. He's a phenomenal player and he had a fine game. It's just you can tell the difference when one of those guys is on the floor and the other one isn't. That said, Brown, 24 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 10 of 18, 0 5 from 3. He's not ideal. He had a couple silly turnovers in the fourth quarter and then a few awkward possessions in that second. But all in all, not a bad game by any means for Jaylen.
No, the turnovers for Jaylen in the threes are a little concerning. I really don't like that when he goes to the basket, it feels like you just have to blitz him before he gets the ball up and you're probably going to get a stop. Needs to improve on that before the playoffs in order for him to be the most effective. He also needs to improve the 3-point shooting. This is really nitpicky. Like we said, efficient 24 points for Jaylen, 10 of 18. He's shooting over 50% from the field. If you take out the 5 missed threes, he's 10 of 13 from the floor. Very, very good game. Not to mention he didn't miss a free throw in this one. He was 4 of 4.
Yes.
I do fear that he could get Drew Holiday or Ben Simmons or whatever you want to call it in the playoffs, and it would actually be an effective method because what is he from 3 this year? He's got to be 30%, if
33,
that.
I think. Excuse me, 32.3.
Yeah, it's felt like it. I'm surprised it's that high. I have still faith when he puts them up, but when he misses, I'm not surprised. Like, I'm not sitting there like that's a bad shot, but it's just like, oh yeah, I guess. Like, just didn't go in.
Yeah. Not the best 3-point shooter this season, which it is what it is. But meanwhile, Jayson Tatum, also not a good night from 3, 3 of 12, 7 of 18 from the field. The 3 of 12 was from 3, but 19.6 rebounds, 11 assists. 6 turnovers weren't great. He did turn the ball over a bit more than he might usually want to. It did feel like the Raptors were making an extra effort to, as soon as Jayson Tatum or Jaylen Brown put the ball on the floor, there were 2 guys on him. It's partially, I think, because they didn't really have a center in Jakob Poeltl, the guy they're comfortable with, funneling guys into. So they sent extra pressure sooner. So that I think had to do with Tatum's 6 turnovers, Jalen's 3. But this was just the third straight game, or however many in a row, where Jayson Tatum was, as you call him, the puppet master. Like,
Yes.
just dishing out as many as assists as you can possibly imagine. He's had 10, 9, then now 11. So that's what, 30 assists in the last 3 games. Then he had 7 the game before that, 2, 4, 4, 7, 10, 11. Like, he's been a monster passing the ball really since the start of February, and a little bit in the end of January as well. This is like the peak version of Jayson Tatum. I don't care that he didn't shoot very well. Like, that's because they send the extra pressure at him. This is the version of Tatum why he doesn't shoot so well, because they send so much pressure at him, because he will beat you like that.
The Tatum over more than 8.5 threes was a free Prize Picks pick today. Sharp Prize Picks, CLNS. Regardless, like you said, still a good game. This was a really weird fourth quarter because the Raptors turned them over a billion times towards the end of the game. They also had the same sort of success in the second quarter, but it was on the offensive end. Like, they just turned up the intensity. Scotty Barnes was screaming at people even if he didn't make the basket. Like, Nimi fouled him on one possession. He still was like screaming after the ball rolled off the rim. That rubbed off on his teammates. Like, Jamal Shed played an incredibly aggressive game. Like, he was locked in on defense. They turned the Celtics over a lot in the fourth quarter, and that got the Celtics to take a lot of tough shots. Like, Tatum must have taken 2 or 3 logo threes in this game, and it wasn't even like, I mean, at first I was like, damn, why'd he do that? And then I was like, oh yeah, the shot clock was at 2. Like, they were forcing them into
JD Davison threw him a grenade.
All right, so let's talk about JD Davison, since he briefly came up, because he's more, in my opinion, than like an afterthought in this video. He was in this game for 4 minutes, and he was the ball handler on 2 of the worst possessions of the game. There was that one with the grenade, and then there was just one. He was just dribbling the ball at half court. He dribbled for 16 seconds, 17 seconds, and gave the ball to Shireman, and Shireman had to make this like turnaround, like 270-degree spin shot in the lane that he trickled in off the front rim. It was like, what the fuck is happening out here? Like, Jayson Tatum is in the game. JD Davison's dribbling the ball on the Raptors logo for 20 seconds. What is happening?
It's very weird. JD Davison did not look good in his few minutes, which is fine. It is what it is. But Tatum had another good game as a playmaker. This felt like the type of game you'd see from Tatum in the playoffs last year, where the shooting splits are bad and everyone's like, oh, look at him, he sucks. But really, he has 11 assists and 6 rebounds. It is what it is. Torrey Craig got the start at center, 14 minutes, 2 of 7, 0 of 5 from 3. Couldn't find the ocean if he's shooting from a boat. Whatever, it was fine. They were in a weird spot because KP was literally a last minute scratch, and they asked Joe about it after the game, and he was like, yeah, I had no idea until like the last second. He's just sick and we wanted him for tomorrow, so we just decided to rest him, which is what it is. But yeah, Torrey Craig at the center didn't really work out too well, and then the backup center, Nemish Queta, who's 4 of 6, wasn't that great either. He was kind of a foul happy guy in this one. He did some okay things. He had 8 and 5, which is fine, had a couple boards, but by and large was the foul pro Nemi. I feel like we saw a lot of last season.
Nemi was in his bag today, just fouling the fuck out of guys. He had 3 within the first couple of minutes of playing. Scout was talking about on the broadcast, and he has been a lot better this year. Like, he's played more like long runs of minutes where he wasn't fouling everybody, and he was actually able to stay out there and be effective. We've seen him have good games against some top centers, like the game at Madison Square Garden last month. This month, he was really, really good on Cat. He had Cat in hell. This was just not one of those games where Nemi was incredible. It is what it is. I mean, he had an efficient scoring day, but The 5 fouls in 20 minutes is brutal. Not good.
Yeah, not ideal. Not exactly what you want to see from Nemi. I think this was a pretty good Sam Hauser game. He only had 10 points and 5 rebounds, but he had 2 offensive rebounds. He had a steal and a block. Thought he played pretty good defense. Did have 3 fouls. There were a couple possessions where he inevitably, gets scored on. It is what it is. 4 6, 2 of 4. Didn't do a ton, but like this felt like one of those games where you could see Sam Hauser's impact, even though he's not putting up these crazy, 3-point numbers. Like I might make my video on Sam Hauser tomorrow because I was like putting a few notes down. It just felt like he did a lot of small things really, really well in this game in a spot where you needed guys to step up because you were, I had guys out with injuries.
Yeah, it was good to see him put the ball in the basket again. Like, he hasn't been very efficient in the last couple games since the All-Star break, unless I'm wrong about that. I'm pretty sure he's been a little cold since they came back from the break. Not to say he wasn't good before the break, but since they came back, I feel like he's like had a 1 of 6 and 1 of 5 type game in both. Do you have it?
Yeah, since the break, he was 1 of 5, then 2 of 3.
Okay, 2 of 3 is not bad at all. But it was good to see him do well on a start today. Made a big one in the fourth quarter, put them back up 10 after the Raptors had spent some time chipping away. So was impressed with what we saw from him. Thought he played solid defense. Like, he wasn't really getting picked on too much. There were a couple plays where there was one play in the fourth quarter, Grady Dick scored on him, and he got like clobbered by a screen that was behind him, like directly behind him.
He got tripped.
Yeah, like whoever the screener was, I think it might have been Boucher, was just screening with his back to the basket. Like, it wasn't even like a left-right screen. He just backed up and tripped over Boucher. So he was pretty solid in this. Since I pronounced him dead, he's been pretty good. I'll take the credit.
Yeah, combined with tonight, he is now, what is that, 4 of 7, 5 of 15? Is that right? No, that can't be right. Hold up. I'm trying to do math. 4 of 7, 5 of 12. 5 of 12 from 3, which is not bad. He's fine since the break, but he did have a 2 of 7 going into the break, so maybe that's bleeding into things. But I was very pleased with Hauser. I thought he's pretty good. You might see a video on it, but he was also a plus 19, which was second on the team to Tatum. He was a plus 20, which is always a good sign to see. Jordan Walsh got a couple minutes in there. He was fine. Didn't really do much. Baylor Shireman got in 1 of 4, took a 3. That was a, very confident 3.
Yes. Good to see.
It was fine. It was good to see that he shot it confidently. Still didn't make the 3. But he had a nice hustle rebound. He had 2 rebounds, 2 points, including that basket you mentioned. The biggest thing I noticed was it is painfully clear to me that he and Sam Hauser are being taught the same way to play defense. They play the same exact defense where they shuffle their feet and like stunt the drives by like sticking their torsos out and their abdomens out into the defender as they're trying to drive. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's Craig Lucian doing it because he coaches both of them very, 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 very similarly. Like they do the whole what's it called? Like the juggling balls routine at the start of the game, so pass it back and forth. They do the same movement 3 drills together, and this is the exact same defense that Sam Hauser is playing all throughout this game. So it looks like Baylor Shireman's progressing pretty well. He has the shortest leash I've ever seen in my life for a player, but it looks like you can see him improving on both ends.
Yeah, I mean, it was good to see him get extended run in this game. I'm pretty sure Peterson wasn't with the team, but I've almost been surprised that he hasn't gotten more run.
Yeah, he was I think.
Remember when he had that game in Cleveland and he played pretty well, and then we just kind of haven't seen him since in real minutes? I'm surprised he hasn't been asked to go out there and try again. Not to say that these other guys don't deserve it, because, I think Walsh is someone we really would like to see more minutes out of as people that cover the team. We'd like to see what the Celtics have in him. Shireman, of course, is a rookie, is always intriguing. It was cool to see Craig play 15 minutes today, but yeah. Seeing the rotation guys get in is always a little bit fun. This felt like a preseason game at times. There was a point in the third quarter, it was Tatum, Davison, Hauser, Craig, and Shireman, and it was just like,
it was even worse
going on out here.
It was Davison, Shireman, Craig, Kada, Tatum. It was wild. It was a very, very weird couple of lineups they threw out there, but that's fine.
Tatum, by the way, with a plus 20 plus minus game high.
Exactly.
Despite playing with me and the boys.
Exactly. Like I was telling my roommate, like there's Tatum and the fellas, and then there's Tatum and the fellas. And that was Tatum and the fellas. They were hanging out. Jaylen Brown might have gotten hurt in this game. That was a little tidbit.
My guess is he does not play tomorrow.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. He didn't end the game, so they pulled him and they, got him out of there and didn't have him finish the game. Knee to knee, it looked like. I'm just looking on Twitter. Keith Smith, he went knee to knee or knee to quad earlier in the game. Did play after that, but the Celtics were in control and they took a cautious approach. Maybe he doesn't play tomorrow. Regardless, it does look like he got a little bit banged up.
Yeah, when it happened, when he took the knee to the muscle, he immediately pointed at Joe and checked the game. I was surprised that they even put him back in the game. To be honest with you, I just figured he would sit out for the rest of it. They were in pretty firm control at the beginning of the fourth quarter when he came back in. I would just like to not see him play against the Pistons. You just don't need to put him out there. Why bother? Whatever bump he received is going to fucking hurt tomorrow when he wakes up. It's going to be even worse. Granted, he's going to probably get treated for it and everything different than, if it happens to you or me in a men's league game, but he's not going to be feeling good when he wakes up. That's for sure.
Very true. That said, he should be fine. I'm not too worried. I don't think they're too worried considering he played right after. We didn't even talk about Peyton Pritchard yet, which is probably a disservice. 20 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals for Pritchard, 8 of 17, 4 of 13, 2 offensive rebounds that were just classic Pritchard offensive rebounds. Played 34 minutes in this one, which was the 4th highest on the team, behind Tatum, Derrick, and Hauser, who played almost 40 minutes. But Pritchard, just another solid game. Made a bunch of shots, not even all threes. He didn't really shoot very efficiently from 3, 4, 13, but good game for PP.
It was. He had like a 6-man of the year type outing today. Wasn't the most efficient shooting day, like you said, but still made some big shots, some loud shots. Made the one at the end of the third quarter where he took the ball up full court, pulled back against Mobo, and stuck the 3. First one of those end of the quarter shots he's made in a little while, so that was good to see. And team high 7 rebounds. Only Pritchard at 6'1" or whatever he is out there, just in the absolute forest of trees underneath the basket, grabbing rebounds. He had a big offensive rebound in this game in the fourth quarter. He had Tatum missed a 3, and it was like 4 Raptors, and somehow Pritchard came out with the ball. He just does crazy shit no matter what part of the game he's doing it at.
Indeed, couple classics. Everybody played in this game except for Xavier Tillman. Told you, man. I told you. What'd I say?
The hope's dead.
My theory was before he's been hurt all season and is still hurt, but they didn't list him as hurt before the trade deadline in case they could find a trade for him. Didn't find a trade for him, and so they are now saying, okay, yeah, his knee's fucked up. Oops. And then tonight they just said, okay, he's available only because they were down big guys, so just in case they needed him. So I think he is hurt. Doesn't change the fact that he's been bad in the minutes he's played.
Listen, man, he's still on the team. They didn't trade him. Who knows? Maybe he has a moment. Maybe early April when they sit everybody out. You get a Tillman 10 ball.
Or game winner. Round 2.
Tillman game winner. Yeah, most game winners on the team last year.
Damn right. Anyways, anything else that we missed? I think we covered everything. How about Scotty Barnes? Shit talking.
Yeah, he was locked in. This was his game 7 of the finals today for Scotty Barnes. People online are going to be mad about this, by the way. They're going to be like, fuck Scotty Barnes. He's a loser. Respect to Scotty Barnes for motivating himself in late February on a team with no real goals this year.
Well, the funniest one was at the end of the half or the quarter, one of it was, he was clapping, talking shit to Tatum, and then the Raptors still sent a double at Tatum, and Scotty Barnes was like, what? Why you doubling? I had him. And the Celtics just passed it around, and Nebe got a dunk. It was just the most hilarious, Scotty thinks he's him moment, and then the Raptors just send 2 bodies at him, and it ruins their entire defense.
Scotty's a gem, man. Respect to him for firing himself up, though, because, like I said, can't be easy going out there and losing more games than you win by a large margin and all that.
Yep. They did give him the Josh Hart, Dylan Brooks treatment, though. And he did not make a 3.
He didn't make all his threes like he did last time. Him and
Correct.
Grady Dick combined 2 for 12 today. Last time they must have been 10 of 15 or better.
Yeah, and the Raptors only made 5 threes in this game. Not going to win many. Not going to win many like that.
Yeah, like we have to credit the Celtics for holding them to 101 points, but at the same time, the Raptors created a lot of good shots in this game, and the Celtics did not always do a great job defending. Maybe it was by design and the math, the odds, whatever. Like they banked
They
on
knew
the
who they were
missing
playing.
shots.
I will
Well, it
say I
wasn't
think
the
a lot of
best.
it tonight was they didn't have a rim protector, and so they felt a little less able.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Fair.
there's part of it that's that because they ran a lot, like most of the game was literally with no center on the court, so they had to get a little bit creative. But regardless,
Can't do it again tomorrow. Have to
no.
actually defend tomorrow.
I'll have guys back though.
Shoot.
All right. Anyways, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Let us know what you thought of this game, and I'll let Sam take it out.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you leave a like, comment, tell us what you thought of Celtics Raptors. Subscribe and hit the bell. Jack and I are here every single day with new content. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Game recaps are up the morning after each game, and other videos are on the channel in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. You can find the two of us doing pregame streams live. Today we had a great day, great GeoGuessr day. 11 state streak. We got Rhode Island. It was tremendous. Come hang out in the chat. Get yourself excited for the games. You can also find the two of us on Spotify and Apple. All pods and game recaps up there. So if you just want the audio, that's fine. Give us a follow to go right to your feed. Email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. We're reading your emails every single time we do a pod, which will be tomorrow during the afternoon at some point. So get them in, hbtc, today as you hear this, hbtcpod@gmail.com. Our socials are at How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook's the name of the podcast. All streams there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter is Jax1NBA. His TikTok is at Jax1NBA. You can find his daily deep dives on different trends on the defense or analytical stuff. He's really doing a great job. So give him a watch. They're also on Twitter. And my Twitter is at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.